The sun begins to peek over the hills of Jerusalem. Its golden rays slip through the stone windows of an ancient synagogue, slowly lighting up a Torah scroll resting on the lectern. In this sacred hour, while the world is still half asleep, an elderly rabbi walks quietly toward the altar. His footsteps carry the wisdom of generations. With hands shaped by decades of study and prayer, he carefully unfurls the holy parchment. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in a modest room in 20th century America, Napoleon Hill wakes before dawn. Notebook in hand, with a pen that has witnessed extraordinary insights, he begins to write. It is no coincidence that two men, separated by centuries and continents, share this same moment of spiritual alignment with something far greater than themselves. What you're about to learn can alter the course of your life. For over 3,000 years, the Jewish people have practiced daily rituals that reach far beyond religious custom. These are precise formulas, ancient codes, that helped a community not only survive history's most brutal persecutions, but also thrive and lead entire sectors of the global economy. From finance to technology, entertainment to science, Jewish influence on success and abundance is undeniable. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, spent decades observing the habits of the world's most successful people. Without fully realizing it, he was rediscovering and translating principles the Jewish people had refined over millennia. Their everyday practices weren't mere acts of faith, they were sophisticated methods for mental programming, visualization, network building, and wealth creation. Imagine having access to these secrets. Imagine waking each morning absolutely certain your day is designed to attract abundance, opportunities, and achievement. This isn't luck or chance. It's a system tested by history, hardened by adversity, and validated by results across eras and geographies. Today, you'll discover the 7 daily rituals that turned the Jewish people into an unstoppable force of prosperity. More importantly, you'll see how Napoleon Hill reframed these age-old principles into techniques anyone can use, regardless of background, faith, or current circumstances. Before we go any further, one important ask. If this content is already resonating, if you sense something powerful is about to unfold, subscribe now and turn on notifications. This knowledge deserves to be preserved, and your commitment signals that you belong to a community seeking genuine abundance. To truly grasp the power of these rituals, we need to travel back in time, not to a soft-focused past, but to a hard reality where survival depended on intelligence, adaptability, and an unbreakable bond with higher principles. For more than 2,000 years, the Jewish people endured systematic persecution, from the destruction of the Temple to the pogroms of Eastern Europe. From the Spanish Inquisition to the Holocaust, they were expelled, stripped of possessions, and forced to reinvent themselves again and again. And yet, every time history seemed ready to erase them, they re-emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more influential. How? Not through genetics or secret conspiracies, but through daily rituals practiced with religious consistency, rituals that forged a distinctive mindset, a mindset of lasting abundance. While other cultures focused on immediate survival, Jewish rituals trained the mind to think in generations. Where others grieved their losses, these practices taught gratitude for what remained. Where others competed destructively, these rituals built unshakable networks of mutual support. Unwittingly, Napoleon Hill was studying the fruits of this long-term mental programming. When he interviewed Andrew Carnegie, analyzed Henry Ford's habits, and documented Rockefeller's strategies, he was observing principles with deep echoes in Jewish tradition. Hill's definite major purpose parallels Tikkun Olam, the responsibility to help repair the world. His auto-suggestion mirrors daily prayers that continually recondition the subconscious. His mastermind principle reflects Kehillah, community as a multiplier of success. These aren't accidents. They're expressions of universal laws discovered, refined, and applied systematically for centuries. Laws Hill reintroduced to the modern world in language everyone could use. The crucial difference is this. Hill taught ideas people might apply occasionally. Jewish ritual turned those same ideas into automatic, daily habits. It wasn't enough to think about abundance once a week. The mind had to be programmed for abundance every single day. This mental spiritual discipline wasn't fanaticism. It was practical success, science dressed in sacred tradition, NLP before it had a name, creative visualization before it was a self-help buzzword. And here's the key revelation: these rituals work regardless of the practitioner's theology. They're technologies of consciousness that operate according to natural laws, not denominational preferences. Ritual 1. Morning prayer and gratitude, programming abundance at daybreak. Picture this: every morning before the world barges in, you have a window to reprogram your subconscious, your emotional center, your filter for perception, your autopilot for action. This is not fantasy. In those first waking moments, your conscious mind hasn't yet been flooded with distraction. The Jewish people unlocked this secret long ago. Upon waking, they recite Modehani, I give thanks, not as rote words, but as potent statements that set the day's emotional frequency. Modehani lefanecha, melech chai vakayam, great is your faithfulness. Napoleon Hill would have instantly recognized the power here. In Think and Grow Rich, he highlights the importance of early morning thoughts. The subconscious is most receptive during the sleep-wake transition. The first mental impressions tend to shape the rest of the day. But the ritual goes further. After Modeh Ani come the Birkot Hashachar, the morning blessings. 17 specific acknowledgements for things as mundane as opening your eyes, getting out of bed, getting dressed, walking, even using the bathroom. At first glance, that seems excessive. Why give thanks for basics? Because it trains the brain to perceive abundance already present, calibrating your nervous system to notice more abundance everywhere. Think of Abraham. When promised blessing, he didn't wait for results before expressing thanks. He built altars and offered gratitude in advance, creating a magnetic field that drew to him what he envisioned. Hill documented the same pattern. Andrew Carnegie began his days thankful for opportunities yet unseen. Henry Ford pictured his inventions succeeding and felt grateful for them before they existed physically. A modern application is simple and powerful. On waking, before your phone, before your to-do list, spend 5 minutes. Thank life for waking up. Many don't get that gift today. Feel the gratitude of a second chance. Thank your physical capacities: eyes that see, ears that hear, hands that create, legs that carry dreams. Each is engineering no technology has truly replicated. Thank the day's opportunities in advance. Visualize successful meetings, productive conversations, surprising breakthroughs, and feel the gratitude as if they've happened. Thank the abundance you usually overlook: the air you breathe, water from the tap, electricity, global connectivity. Declare your intention to be a channel of abundance for others. Once your subconscious understands your success serves more than you, it drops the inner resistance that sabotages progress. The neuroscience is measurable. Genuine gratitude releases serotonin and dopamine, well-being motivation, lowers cortisol, stress that blocks creativity, and activates the prefrontal cortex, planning and decision-making. Beyond chemistry, this establishes Simchat Halev, joy of the heart, an inner state that naturally attracts outer abundance. Abraham Maslow noticed the same trait in self-actualized people. Mornings began with gratitude or spiritual connection. If you want genuine abundance, this ritual isn't optional, it's the bedrock. Without true gratitude, every other structure is a skyscraper on sand. Ritual 2. Daily study, feeding the mind. Transformational wisdom. After morning prayers, something remarkable happens in Jewish homes worldwide. People of all ages open sacred texts and plunge into an ocean of refined wisdom. They're not just reading, they're fueling their minds with the most potent accelerant for success: applied transformational knowledge. The Talmud declares, Talmud Torah keneged kulam. The study of Torah equals all other commandments combined. Why such weight on learning? Because the sages understood what neuroscience now confirms. The brain is designed either to grow or to wither, expand or decline, evolve or erode. Hill devoted a full chapter to specialized knowledge. General knowledge has little market value. Specialized knowledge applied consistently undergirds every genuine fortune. Unknowingly, he was describing what Jews had practiced for centuries. The crucial difference, while Hill emphasized knowledge tailored to market needs, daily Jewish study builds something deeper: the very capacity to learn, analyze, synthesize, and apply any knowledge with unusual mastery. The study method is revolutionary. Not passive memorization, but rigorous analysis, pilpul, training the mind to examine ideas from multiple angles, question assumptions, and connect seemingly unrelated concepts. Picture sitting daily with a text layered in literal, allegorical, ethical, and mystical meanings, training your mind to navigate complexity, hold multiple interpretations at once, and pull practical applications from abstractions. This daily workout produces cognitive flexibility, the ability to switch perspectives quickly, adapt to the new, and solve complex problems creatively, the precise edge that separates entrepreneurs from average employees. David Ben-Gurion kept this practice even during Israel's war for independence. When asked why he would waste time on ancient study while fighting modern battles, he answered, "These pages contain the distilled survival strategies of generations who outlasted crises worse than ours." The classic texts themselves model Hill's invisible counselors. Each page hosts commentaries by sages across eras, each bringing a unique lens to the same problem. In study, you are literally consulting history's brightest minds. The greatest benefit isn't the information gathered, but the discipline built: concentration, analysis, memory, synthesis. Neuroplasticity research shows that 20 minutes of complex learning daily reshapes the brain. New connections, denser gray matter, expanded processing capacity. You don't need to convert or stick to religious texts. The key is challenging material studied consistently, with rigor. Economics, consumer psychology, innovation history, industrial biographies, management philosophy. It must be study, not entertainment. Complex enough to demand your full focus, built on timeless principles, capable of challenging your assumptions and examined with notes, questions, and applications. Warren Buffett reads for hours, not passively. He annotates, calculates, compares multi-year data, and hunts for patterns others miss. Charlie Munger calls himself a learning machine, spanning psychology, history, physics, biology, because first principles travel well between fields. This ritual shifts you from info consumption to active digestion, extracting usable principles, navigating complexity with confidence, and building your own expert judgment. True abundance doesn't come from money. It comes from continually creating value, developed through disciplined study and practical application. Ritual 3. Tithing and Generosity, the paradox of multiplying by giving. Every Friday afternoon in Jerusalem, something seemingly irrational happens before families welcome Shabbat. They set aside a meaningful slice of weekly income for others, especially those in need. This isn't guilt-based occasional charity. It's tzedakah, literally justice or rightness. The giving stems from understanding a universal economic law Hill would echo later: abundance multiplies when it is shared strategically. Jewish tithing goes beyond 10%. It's a sophisticated wealth circulation system that builds reciprocity networks, establishes reputations for reliability, and activates what Hill called the law of compensation. Genuine value out-yields multiplied returns. Maimonides outlined 8 levels of tzedakah, the highest being helping someone become self-sufficient. Real charity doesn't create dependence, it multiplies the whole community's productive capacity. Hill saw the same in Carnegie: massive donations to libraries designed to create opportunity machines. Investing in others' growth is the highest return investment, financially and spiritually. Here's the shared secret: tithing and strategic generosity aren't costs. They're investments into an abundant system bigger than any individual. Consistent giving sends a powerful subconscious signal: I have more than enough. That dissolves scarcity blocks that quietly sabotage wealth creation. Abraham tithed the spoils of war to Melchizedek, and immediately afterward was promised descendants like the stars. Not coincidence. His generosity embodied an abundance mindset that became self-fulfilling. Modern neuroscience agrees: genuine giving releases oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, trust, pleasure, well-being, and activates the prefrontal cortex, long-term planning and strategy. Practical steps. Pick a fixed percentage. The number matters less than the consistency. Automate it. Diversify your giving to maximize impact and create multiple reciprocity channels. Basic needs, talent development, community benefiting innovation. Whenever possible, give in ways that multiply capability, training over handouts, programs over patches. Track your giving not for taxes, but to notice the reciprocity patterns that emerge. More doors open as your strategic generosity grows. Richard Branson reinvested in young entrepreneurs early at Virgin, creating goodwill and a global network that later generated real opportunities. Oprah built an empire by elevating others' stories, products, and solutions, becoming a network hub whose value exceeded any simple financial calculus. The greatest change isn't the return you get, it's who you become. Consistent giving trains you to operate from abundance, not fear. Accumulators see a zero-sum world. Wealth creators see an expandable pie where generosity multiplies opportunity for all. This ritual isn't about buying blessings or gaming karma. It's about reprogramming your relationship with money, expanding your high-value network, and positioning yourself as a value hub. Ritual 4. Visualization. Seeing the invisible until it becomes reality. In a study room in Jerusalem's Mea Shearim, a young rabbi closes his eyes and practices a ritual more than 2 millennia old. He isn't emptying his mind. He's doing the opposite, filling it with vivid images of the future he intends to build. He sees the temple restored, pilgrims arriving, the divine presence manifest. Not escapist fantasy, but structured visualization that kept Jewish hope alive through exile and trained generations to work toward their ancestral return. This practice, hirhur, deep contemplation, is a precise mental technology that uses imagination to reprogram the subconscious and align conscious action with specific aims. Hill would call it creative visualization. The Jewish approach has unique power because 1. It points beyond the self to a purpose larger than the individual, dissolving ego resistance. 2. It anchors in concrete promises from sacred texts, generating certainty rather than doubt. 3. It's communal, many minds holding one vision, what Hill would call a mastermind of concentrated intent. For nearly 2,000 years, Passover concluded with "next year in Jerusalem," not vague hope, but a collective visualization that programmed generations to spot opportunities others overlooked. When Herzl proposed a modern Jewish state, the vision already lived in the collective mind. He only supplied the strategy. Henry Ford did the same, mentally walking factory floors, seeing assembly lines, specialized workers, ordinary families driving once luxury cars. That mental movie trained his brain to recognize and assemble the pieces in real life. The Jewish method follows a sequence. Begin with Zekut Avot, the merit of the ancestors, mentally connecting to those who sacrificed so you could attempt great things. Then build detailed scenes, not "be prosperous," but specific streets, negotiations, amounts, celebrations. Hill's research shows the same. Edison pictured concrete inventions solving concrete problems, and that specificity told his mind exactly what to look for. How to practice. Choose a consistent time and place, early morning or late evening. Start with your larger why. Who benefits from your success? Direct a mental film, wide establishing shots, then close-ups, conversations, emotions, actions. Engage all senses, sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. Visualize not only the outcome but the process, obstacles overcome, skills built, relationships formed, resources gathered. Keep emotional consistency. Feel the precise joy, gratitude, satisfaction, and confidence associated with the scenes. Walt Disney pre-lived Disneyland in minute detail, faces, conversations, sounds, even smells, so his daily decisions lined up with the vision. Oprah envisioned meaningful conversations changing lives long before the audience existed, then steered her career accordingly. This ritual isn't wishful thinking. It's systematic neurolinguistic programming, to align mental resources around specific goals, the difference between waiting for success and building the conditions that make it inevitable. Ritual 5, the spoken word, blessings and autosuggestion as mental reprogramming. The instant a devout Jew wakes before eyes fully open, the lips move with words repeated for over 3,000 years. Not casual phrases, but precise statements designed to reset the subconscious and set the day's frequency. Blessed be the name forever and ever. Amen and Amen. Each syllable is deliberate, each word charged by generations who spoke them in times of peace and under savage persecution alike. Hill would recognize this as advanced autosuggestion. The subconscious responds to thoughts repeatedly charged with emotion. Jewish blessings are exactly that, emotionally resonant formulas repeated so consistently they become automatic nervous system code. But it goes beyond positive affirmations. It's a full linguistic engineering system, using language consciously to shape reality. Words don't just describe, they create. Each phrase triggers neural patterns and neurotransmitter blends that alter perception, emotion, and action. Lashon HaKodesh, Holy Tongue, is less about Hebrew as a liturgical language and more about using any language to elevate consciousness and materialize higher possibilities. Blessings are tools for constructing reality. A blessing before food, recognizing the one who brings forth bread from the earth, isn't mere gratitude for a meal. It links physical sustenance to universal abundance, training the subconscious to experience feeding as evidence of a reliably abundant universe, reducing survival anxiety that quietly derails wealth creation. Solomon wrote, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue." Henry Ford spoke out loud what he intended to build. "I will democratize the automobile," programming his mind and the minds around him. The method: 1. Begin by acknowledging a source greater than yourself, reduces ego friction and taps larger energy. 2. Specify the abundance being recognized. 3. Speak aloud. Multi-sensory impact beats silent thought. 4. Include personal commitment. We will do, serve. Turning blessings into intentions aligned with recognized abundance. Modern application: craft context-specific declarations. Before a key meeting, this conversation is a chance to create mutual value. My mind is clear, my communication effective, and together we'll find solutions that benefit everyone here. Before creative work, the right ideas flow through me to serve and inspire. I have access to limitless creativity, and I execute with excellence and purpose. Before financial decisions, I steward abundant resources wisely. My choices multiply value for me and others. I spot what others miss and act with discernment. Consistency and emotional conviction are everything. Speak them as certainties, not wishes. Muhammad Ali's "I am the greatest" wasn't vanity, it was systematic subconscious code. Steve Jobs declared how Apple devices would change the world before proof existed, programming his team and the market to make it so. Ritual 6, Community as Force, Kehillah and the Mastermind Multiplier. In a corner of Brooklyn every Saturday morning, a scene unfolds that could be Hill's favorite case study in the mastermind principle. Hundreds gather at a synagogue, not just to pray, but to engage in a ritual of community building that has produced more collaborative wealth than many elite MBA programs. This is Kehillah, intentionally constructed community that multiplies each person's capacity through collective wisdom, shared resources, and systematic support. For hours, people exchange not only sacred texts, but business intel, investment leads, professional connections, and problem-solving strategies. The rules: 1. Everyone contributes unique value, skills, knowledge, resources. 2. Information and opportunities are shared, not hoarded. 3. Individual wins are celebrated as communal wins. Individual challenges are tackled as communal responsibility. The Lehman Brothers began in America with no capital or contacts, but with access to a Jewish trading network operating on Kehillah principles. Reputation, verification, and long-term trust that slashed risk and transaction costs. Hill chronicled similar dynamics in Carnegie's dinner circles and Edison's Menlo Park invention factory. Structured collaboration where diverse experts advanced shared goals. To apply this today, curate 5 to 12 people with shared values and complementary skills. Meet regularly. Each member shares current challenges, receives targeted input, reports recent wins, and makes concrete commitments before the next session. The group supports and holds one another accountable. Gates and Buffett have done a version of this for decades. Reid Hoffman built his career by cultivating such communities intentionally. Mark Cuban invests money and then plugs founders into a network that multiplies their odds. The point isn't collecting contacts, it's building ecosystems where everyone is genuinely committed to everyone else's success. Ritual 7. Writing as sacred memory, crystal clear goals and written commitments. At the Western Wall in Jerusalem, thousands slip notes between ancient stones, requests, vows, visions of the future. This is Zakor, to remember by inscribing, to make the intangible tangible. Writing in this tradition doesn't merely record thought, it creates reality by giving potential a physical form that can be reviewed, refined, and realized. Hill noticed the same. Everyone who actually achieved their aims kept specific written goals, plans, and progress. The difference between achievers and dreamers was the consistent habit of writing objectives with absolute clarity. Goals are dreams with deadlines, Hill said. Jewish writing tradition goes further. It's a full manifestation system using the neurological and spiritual power of turning mental impulses into physical symbols. The pattern: begin with a blessing, acknowledging the creative power of the written word and the gift of the present moment. Express gratitude for what already is, programming the mind to operate from abundance rather than neediness. Include service to others, aligning personal goals with broader currents of abundance. Maimonides observed that the most successful merchants kept meticulous records, not only of transactions, but of spiritual and communal aims. Rockefeller did similarly, documenting financial goals, philanthropic commitments, industry improvement plans, and societal benefit. How to practice: reserve a sacred daily writing time, morning or evening, free from interruption. Honor the process with good tools: a quality pen, textured paper, a dedicated journal. The physical ritual signals significance to your subconscious. Start with specific gratitude. Write goals in the present tense. I'm grateful to be earning $100,000 a year while delivering exceptional value to clients. State how your success benefits others, family, community, industry. List concrete actions you will take now. Set deadlines. Specific dates wake up the brain's reticular activating system to notice the resources and opportunities required. Jim Carrey wrote himself a $10 million check dated 5 years out, and 5 years later, he earned that amount. Oprah has kept detailed goal journals for decades. A young Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote down, reviewed, and refined goals to become Mr. Olympia, a film star and a political leader, then lived them. This ritual isn't passive documentation, it's active engineering of reality through the deliberate act of writing. As the sun sets over Jerusalem, those same golden stones, witness to 3 millennia, still radiate the distilled wisdom of generations who discovered, refined, and applied universal principles of abundance across time, place, and circumstance. We've walked through 7 rituals that aren't mere tradition, but sophisticated mental programming and spiritual activation, tools that help to people not only endure systematic persecution, but rise to lead modern innovation across industries. Morning gratitude: set the vibrational foundation for genuine abundance, training your nervous system to recognize wealth already present and to notice opportunities others miss. Daily study: transformed knowledge from passive consumption into fuel for value creation, shifting you from information holder to solution builder. Tithing and generosity revealed the most powerful economic paradox: abundance multiplies when strategically shared. Specific visualization taught you that disciplined imagination isn't leisure. It's systematic subconscious instruction to build precise conditions for specific goals. The spoken word proved that declarations don't just describe reality, they shape it. Community as a force showed that sustainable success demands ecosystems of collaboration, not isolation. Writing as sacred memory demonstrated that turning thought into ink activates universal forces that move goals from possible to real. These 7 aren't magic. They're disciplined practices, tempered by adversity, validated by results, translated by Hill into universal principles anyone can apply. This isn't theory. It's actionable now. Each ritual can start changing your life tomorrow morning. The question isn't whether they work. The historical record already answered that. The only question is whether you'll practice them consistently. Abraham didn't wait for fulfillment before showing gratitude. David didn't wait for a crown to think like a leader. Solomon didn't wait to be rich to make wise choices with what he had. Hill's industrial giants did the same. Carnegie didn't wait to be a millionaire to think like one. Ford visualized a car in every garage long before it existed. Edison devoted daily study to problems no one else could solve, until he did. Abundance isn't a distant destination. It's a state you operate from now, using what's already in your hands. These rituals don't prepare you for future abundance. They connect you to present abundance your conditioning has overlooked. But here's the most important truth. Knowing without doing is more dangerous than not knowing. Knowledge unused erodes self-trust. You become someone who knows what to do but won't do it, a cognitive dissonance that blocks success everywhere. The Jewish people didn't survive and prosper by knowing these principles. They practiced them without exception in prosperity and persecution alike. Consistency turns principles into power, knowledge into results, students into creators. So here's your move. In the comments, share exactly which one ritual you'll start tomorrow and how you'll structure it in your routine. Not all of them. Not, I'll think about it. Name one. Specify the practice. This public commitment isn't for vanity metrics. It activates the accountability power you learned in Ritual 6. Declaring your intention multiplies the odds you'll follow through. Your testimony may be the spark someone else needs to begin. If this resonated, if you feel your relationship with abundance just shifted, then share it with 3 specific people who are ready for more purpose, prosperity, and meaning. Don't blast it to everyone. Choose the 3 who will actually do the work. This isn't knowledge to hoard. It's wisdom to practice and spread. Hidden knowledge withers. Shared applied knowledge multiplies and can bless entire generations. These rituals have produced more wealth, innovation, leadership, and social contribution than many modern programs. They've survived the harshest tests in human history. Now you know them. You hold the keys. What will you do? Tomorrow morning you choose. Rise as you always have, or rise as someone practicing the rituals that have generated abundance for millennia. No video, book, or seminar can make that choice for you. Only you can, daily, starting tomorrow. The Jewish people didn't wait for perfect conditions. Hill didn't wait for guarantees. History's great builders didn't wait for permission. Your moment is now. Your opportunity is here. Your transformation begins with the first ritual you choose to practice tomorrow. Share it in the comments and step into a community that's decided merely knowing abundance isn't enough. We're here to live it, apply it, and create it, starting immediately with the resources already within reach. The abundance you seek isn't far off in time. It's available now, waiting for your wisdom to recognize it and your discipline to activate it. These rituals are the keys. Consistent practice is the door. Abundance is the inevitable destination. Welcome to a tradition that has created prosperity for more than 3,000 years. Welcome to principles proven by history and refined by hardship. Welcome to your own shift, from student of abundance to creator of abundance. Your journey starts now.